Hi, good morning. Welcome to Ezayola Online English. In today's tutorial, we shall be talking about possessive forms of the nouns. Normally, we should know that nouns are names. They are names of whatsoever you can think of. When we mention nouns, we are talking about names. Names of persons, names of animals, names of places, names of concepts, names of ideas, names of whatever, even the days of the week, the months of the year, whatever name. And of course, you know that everything in life has a name. So when we mention nouns, we are referring to names. But in this tutorial, we are going to limit our teaching to the aspects of the possessive forms of the nouns. When we talk about possessive form, we are referring to ownership. Ownership. The possessive, that is the ownership aspects of the nouns. All right. If we look at what we have on the board, it is ideal to understand that what owns something, the possibility of ownership, is only obtainable with things that are living. I mean, human beings, we can own things that are living, that have life. Those are the things that can own. Normally, inanimate objects don't own things. It's not possible to say that inanimate objects, they own whatever it is. So, we cannot say the clock's hand. The clock, of course, you know what it is. Clock is an object. It cannot own a hand. Rather, we say the hand of the clock. The hand of the clock. So to say, it would be very wrong to say the clock's hand. Here we have it as the river's bank. We don't say that. It's a wrong English. We don't say the river's bank because the river cannot own a bank. We rather say the bank of the river. The bank of the river. And here we have it as the engine's power. The engine's power. The engine doesn't have power. We rather say the power of the engine. The power of the engine. All right. But we need to understand what we mean by possessive case of the nouns. Look at this. Clock. Clock is a name. Name of an object. Here we have it as rivers. They are the subject matter. The river also is a name, the name of something, a natural creation by God. And we have engine. Engine is also the name of something. But because we are talking about possessive case, that's why we have something like this. Normally in nouns, when we want to make reference to the possessive cases, we include the use of an apostrophe before we now include s after the apostrophe. Apostrophe are things like this. They are part of the punctuations. You see, this is what we call apostrophe. We have clock's hand, although it is wrong to say the clock's hand, but I want us to understand what we mean by possessive case. The apostrophe here is a kind of punctuation that is going to be used to indicate that we are talking about noun in ownership or nouns in possession. But when we say that inanimate objects don't own, of course, there are often or always exceptions in English language. Now here, let us look at these exceptions. We can't say the clock's hand, neither can we say the river's bank, and we cannot say the engine's power. We rather say the hand of the clock, the bank of the river, or the power of the engine. But in the case of exceptions, in the cases of earths, this is earths, and this is seasons, names of concepts. This is suns. These ones, they are of course inanimate also because they don't have life, but we could say the earth's surface. It's proper to say the earth's surface under the possessive case. It is also proper to say season's greetings. You can say this. Season's greetings. Remember, your apostrophe S indicating ownership. And then we have the sun's rays. The sun's rays. So things like this are exceptions. When we make expressions such as this, we wouldn't say we are wrong in spoken English. I think it is good to understand this. All right, let us move into other aspects that are very necessary we talk about as far as the possessive cases of the nouns are concerned. We want to look at the plural forms as well as the singular forms. In the case of the singular, something like this, we have boy. That's the singular aspect of the name boy. We could have Obi. Obi is a native name. Don't mind that. We have chairman. These are appeared, or they have appeared, or they are written in their singular aspect. What about the plural? The plural, something like this. We have plurals. We have boy. We have it as boys. Obi. Do we have obi in plural? No, we don't have that. Chairman. Is it possible to have chairman? Yes, we can. Chairman, sorry. Now, how do we write them in their possessive cases? How do we write them in their possessive cases? For boy, we now include the apostrophe s, okay? For obi, we include the apostrophe s. That is what? Possessive form, possessive nature. What about the chairman? We include also the apostrophe s. How do we use this in expressions? Something like for boys, example, we can say Obi's, the boys' presence is needed. The boy's presence is needed. Look at this. The boy's presence. What is the possessive nature of the expression? We are talking about the boy's presence. That means the presence of the boy. That's the possession there. So talking about the possessive case, we include the apostrophe before the s because the boy is singular. Peradventure, we are talking about boys, two boys or more. That's where we have boys as plural. In case we are expecting the presence of two boys or more, we now say the boys' presence. Now, having written the boys here in plural, we now include our apostrophe after the s, so that we have the boys' presence is needed. Or the boys' presence, yes, is needed. Meaning that their presence is needed. The presence of the both boys. The presence of the particular boy for the number one case. Number two, the presence of the both boys. Here we have plural boys, maybe one, two, or more boys, okay? That's why we have to include the apostrophe after the s. Now, what are we to learn here? This is the possessive case in the singular aspect, while this is the possessive case in the plural aspect. Originally, the singular form of boy is boy. One boy, 10 boys. Now, writing them in their possessive case, for the singular, the apostrophe has to come after the s. But in the plural form, the apostrophe must have to come after the s. Sorry, for the singular, before the s, that's where you include the apostrophe. Then for the plural, after the s, you include the apostrophe. These things are very important. We take note of it because most times we do not write well. And normally in English language, punctuation is a kind of tool that is very essential, using them effectively. If you don't, it gives a kind of adverse meaning. Whatever you want to say might be affected because somebody who can read or who reads whatever you have written may not understand exactly the message contained when you make wrong use of the punctuations. Very, very important. Before we round up for today, let us also look at possessive cases as it concerns, we have something we call compound words. Compound words in English language, that's where we have something like daughter-in-law. Daughter-in-law. We have hyphen, and this is one word in English language, but words like this, we call them daughter-in-law. We call them, compound words. We also have something like editor-in-chief. Editor-in-chief. This is also a compound word. One word, but then we call it compound word. How do we represent these in their possessive cases? Now, because they are singular, like daughter-in-law, and here we have it as editor-in-chief, they are written in their singular forms. Now, writing them in possessive forms, we include apostrophe s. We also include apostrophe s for the singular aspect of the possessive forms. Now, going back to write them in their plurals, for the plurals, how do we represent them in plurals? Now, for the first one, which is daughter-in-laws, we have to write it this way: daughters in plural, then before the hyphen, in-law, then you still include your apostrophe s. What about the editor-in-chief? We also have to write it this way: editors in chief. Then we include our apostrophe before, after which we write the s. So now if you look at this, these are written in their possessive cases singular, while these are written in their possessive cases plurals. Now this is very, very important we take note of, because most students or learners of English language, they often fumble here. They mess up. And these things, we look at them as very insignificant topic, but they really matter. They help us in our spoken English as well as what? Written English. Thank you very much. Don't forget to always follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our channel on Ezayola Online English. We've got all it takes to equip you very proficient for English language subjects. Thank you very much.